Hello there, and thanks for visiting the Varykino YouTube channel. I'm Kristy.
And I'm Matt.
We're long-standing Star Wars fans who live and breathe Star Wars every day.
Welcome to another installment of Our Week of Star Wars, a series recapping the Star Wars fun we've had during the past week. It's been a really good week for consuming online Star Wars content. The 4-episode series of LEGO Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy launched last week. We've watched all 4 episodes, had a lot of fun doing that. It is humorous in much the same way that a lot of previous LEGO Star Wars content is, but there's actually quite a deep story, almost tinging into the realm of darkness at one or two instances, but a really good story there, setting up a complete alternate galaxy.
I thought this was a really clever blend of sort of a Star Wars lore and storytelling with the basis of LEGO, kind of being able to build sets but also build what you want. There was the concept of a Force builders and Sith breakers, ones that build things using the Force and ones that take things apart using dark side powers. There was some really fun moments, especially if you know a lot about Star Wars and Star Wars characters. All sorts of fun little references in there, even a nod to Star Tours. I thought this was just a lot of fun. It does end on a bit of a cliffhanger, I am hoping to see more from this, especially if it does well in terms of Disney Plus viewership and, of course, the tie-in LEGO sets. They'll probably be using both of those metrics to see if they're going to make more episodes, and I really hope they do.
There's an absolute ton of in-jokes and Easter eggs, which is par for the course for LEGO Star Wars content, but I do actually like LEGO Star Wars content on the whole because it's quite lightweight and it can really take a lot of liberties with storytelling, but they almost always do have good stories. I really enjoyed, for instance, the Freemaker Adventures a little while back that, I could have done with a little bit more of this, but like you say, this one ended on a cliffhanger and there is a non-zero chance that we will actually see some more of the Rebuild the Galaxy series down the line. The other thing that's actually really worth mentioning, and there's a really good hook if you're keen on checking this out and haven't done so yet, is the number of original voice talent that's in there and actual actors.
Including actors like Mark Hamill voicing Luke Skywalker, Ahmed Best as Darth Jar Jar, and even Billy D. Williams, but I won't tell you which character he voices because I think that was a fun little reveal. So I know that LEGO Star Wars animated series might seem like it is appealing to just the younger fans, but even if you are an older Star Wars fan, I do suggest that you check this out. It was a lot of fun and I really hope to see more of it.
So those 4 episodes come in at about 27 minutes each with credits and so forth, so it does add out to about a feature length for an animated movie there. Hasbro had their Hasbro Pulse Con 2024 live stream last week. They covered all of their sort of tie-in franchises, but we obviously tuned in to see what reveals they were going to come up with in terms of new Star Wars Vintage Collection and Black Series figures.
We got to see some in person, at least with the Hasbro team, holding up examples of toys that we knew were in the pipeline, but there were also some fantastic brand new reveals that no one really saw coming. Highlights for me included the Armorer 1-to-1 replica helmet from their Black Series sort of role-play line and the Streets of Mos Eisley playset for the Vintage Collection. These were 2 sort of that weren't really teased in any manner. Fantastic. I really look forward to adding these to my collection.
Yeah, that Streets of Mos Eisley playset is a real step up. We do like their previous playsets, but that one has a lot going for it. We can easily see us purchasing more than one of those in order to really get into diorama building from a Tatooine point of view. And it does tie into their sort of Return to Tatooine campaign that they're running at the moment. I'm really keen to see what other sort of original trilogy and new material content are going to come out that ties back into that Tatooine theming.
The rest of the reveals, of course, centered around the Vintage Collection 3.75 and the Black Series line of 6-inch figures. So many great characters. There wasn't a dud in the bunch for me personally. I'm looking forward to adding every single revealed Star Wars toy from this live stream to my collection.
And we have covered it in a more in-depth video, but I'll just tack on there that I'm really happy to see that Prince Xizor from Shadows of the Empire 6-inch figure, and I've got my fingers crossed for more Shadows of the Empire figures down the line.
Another Star Wars related event that we were able to watch on YouTube. Ewan McGregor, who of course plays Obi-Wan Kenobi in the prequel era Star Wars content, finally got his long-awaited star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And of course, the person that they got to introduce him and do a bit of a speech was none other than Anakin Skywalker himself, Hayden Christensen. So it was really fun to see a bit of the sort of Star Wars connection here, because of course course, for Star Wars fans, Ewan McGregor is so well known for his work in the Star Wars galaxy as Obi-Wan Kenobi. It was really fun to see these two together again. It always makes my prequel fan sort of happy to see these two together, really celebrating their work in the Star Wars galaxy.
Oh, look, it was very topical to have Hayden Christensen speaking and celebrating Ewan McGregor's Star Wars contribution. Obviously, they had a lot of time together working on the prequels, but as I say, it's quite topical even at this point in time because they returned together and worked together in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, which was just fantastic to see. That was one of my highlights from the new material.
And of course, also in attendance was Ewan McGregor's wife, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who plays General Hera Syndulla in the Ahsoka series. So we had a few more sort of Star Wars actors in attendance. That was just really fun. Of course, being in New Zealand, we weren't able to attend in person, but there was good coverage of this on YouTube and online. And someday in the future, I'm hoping to actually visit the Hollywood Walk of Fame again and actually check out the star in person.
One small note that's actually just quite a sort of a moving touch there is that Ewan McGregor's Hollywood star is within stepping distance from Carrie Fisher's star. So Obi-Wan Kenobi and Princess Leia are tied together in Hollywood.
I really liked that. In Star Wars gaming news, in one of our favorite games, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, we have yet another addition to the character rosters from the Ahsoka live-action series. We got the kit reveal for Shin Hati. Personally, I love Shin Hati. It wasn't that long ago that we met the actress that portrayed Shin in the Ahsoka series, Ivana Sakno, in person at a local convention here in New Zealand, and I can't wait to add her to my character of rosters in the game. She looks really cool.
She does actually. The graphics that we have seen in terms of the tease and reveal so far very much looks like the actress, and yeah, that's a really cool addition to that game. We've had a little bit of a slow patch in terms of action figure availability here in New Zealand, but we do keep our eyes open online for announcements of new releases, and we were aware that a new wave of Black Series archive figures were available. We popped out and were able to grab those pretty fresh off the shelf. A couple of them in particular, we wanted Luke Skywalker, the Imperial Light Cruiser version, and Obi-Wan Kenobi from Episode 1 as a Padawan.
Great to pick up new Black Series 6-inch figures that we were missing during their original release. I love the archive series for re-releasing figures, giving collectors like us a second chance at adding these figures to our collection that we missed during their original release.
And even though they don't have particularly wide distribution here in New Zealand or even overseas yet, we did catch wind of a new case of vintage collection action figures showing up at one particular retailer here in New Zealand. And from that way, we were able to get the Vintage Collection HK87 Assassin Droid, the Arcana version, from the Acolyte, a Jedi Master Soul, and from the Mandalorian, the Dark Trooper, which has previously been released as a deluxe figure, but it has now been released in a standard cardback format.
In terms of YouTube videos that we have published this week, of course, finally having new Star Wars toys means that we were very keen to open these up. So we opened up the two Black Series figures that we acquired this week, the Luke Skywalker Imperial Light Cruiser Black Series 6-inch archive figure, as well as the prequel, Episode 1 Obi-Wan Kenobi Padawan Black Series archive 6-inch figure.
And as we often enjoy doing, we were able to compare that Obi-Wan Kenobi in particular to some other Black Series Obi-Wan Kenobi figures. It's always fun to get lineups of matching or similar characters.
And also we opened up the 3 TVC vintage collection figures that we picked up this week as well. The HK87 Assassin Droid, the Arcana version, really fun. This is different to the earlier Assassin Droid. It's fun to seeing a little bit of an army build happening here for those fantastic Assassin Droids from the Ahsoka series and the Mandalorian.
Our very first Acolyte vintage collection action figure, Jedi Master Soul on VC329, looks very cool in this scale. We already have them in the larger scale, but nice to have some Acolyte figures in the 3.75-inch scale as well.
And of course, I had to open up the Vintage Collection Dark Trooper Standard Carded figure, VC271, and I compared it to my deluxe version. Some really interesting differences here. Obviously, the lack of accessories, but I didn't actually notice the fact that it has different hands to that original version. One open to hold the blaster and one clenched punching fist. I thought this was a really interesting choice because it can't actually hold the blaster in two hands like the original figure could. So something to consider if you're looking to pick this one up.
And as we mentioned before, in relation to the Hasbro Pulse Con 2024 live stream, we did a reaction and chat video where we go through every single new figure that they reveal in both the 3.75 and 6-inch lines. as well as that role-playing electronic armorer helmet.
Because they had so many great reveals on this, it's really fun to just sit down together and chat about all these reveals and go through all the pictures and discuss which ones we're really, really excited about. Of course, we want all of them, but you know, you have personal preferences and some of them rise to the top, like that new Princess Leia Black Series figure. I definitely need that one. That fantastic double hood option there, really cool.
And as we cover in that video, the release date for most of these is still a few months away. It's going to be early next year before we get our hands on them. But it was a great live stream in terms of anticipation. We're looking forward to everything from that lineup. On that note, thanks for listening to another episode of Our Week of Star Wars. We appreciate you taking your time to listen to us.
And stay tuned for another episode next week. And as always, may the Force be with you. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a like, check out our other videos, and subscribe for alerts about new uploads. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.